This video is dedicated to the life and memory of Caitlin Mastellini, the greatest Royameadow Generation 2 Eternal Broski who ever existed. Viacom's 3 years, and I'm quite surprised I never got around to doing this game. Welcome along to Sega 2. And welcome to Streets of Rage. I've known this game since I was actually a child. I've known Streets of Rage since the age 3. Yep, I've known this game for almost 15 years. I didn't really start playing it until like 2005 when I had gotten the Model 1 Genesis and started playing it via the Genesis 6-pack. So going back to play Revision 0 kind of feels odd to me. But let's get the story out of the way. Basically, Mr. X and his bunch of syndicate buddies are trying to, take over the city. There's also a corrupt justice system and government agents and senators and here and there. And they're just wreaking havoc on all the citizens. So it's up to these three: Adam Hunter, Blaze Fielding, and Axel Stone. Axel ends up becoming the main character later on. But all three of them are ex-cops, and they are willing to put their lives to the test on the streets of rage. Very fun brawler. If any of you have not picked this up yet, please do so. Yep, that's right. Just like with Wings of War and Jainog, there is also a Japanese version of this game called Bare Knuckle. You might be wondering why I'm showing you the intro again. It's in Japanese. Now, many people might wonder, because Streets of Rage is one of those region-free games. I think if you put a Genesis copy of Streets of Rage into a Mega Drive, you will most likely be able to see this. Japanese text, the Bare Knuckle logo. If you're playing a movie file, if you're using Gen's re-recording like I am, hence the frame counter, please do keep in mind your inputs will be exactly the same. However, please make sure you do not use a save state. Do play from start if you want to get the Bare Knuckle logo showing up in all the Japanese text. Again, very fun to look at. What I'm quite surprised about is that the names of Adam, Blaze, and Axel are unchanged in the Japanese version. However, later on you'll notice certain characters in like Streets of Rage 2 and 3 have different names, but that's a completely different story that I don't even know what the duck it's about. One thing I'm quite surprised about with the Bare Knuckle logo, however, is that the blue fire is not raging like it is in the Bare Knuckle 3 logo. Oh, when we get to 3, there will be a lot of things I have to talk about. For the sake of this playthrough in particular, I'm playing on the hardest difficulty, but only because I'm alone in this one. Gabriel and I will join together for the co-op playthrough whenever the duck we get to it. We might get to it during the month of Sega 2, but knowing my schedule only because I'm uploading videos during the weekdays instead of the weekends, plus the weekdays, I have no idea if we will even get to it this year. If not, we will just have it as like some kind of a bonus thing for like, say, I don't know, beginning of 2014, why not? Fighting in the Streets is the name of this song. I actually did not know the soundtrack for a long time, not until the likes of the internet started coming to me more naturally. So I went on a Wi-Fi binge back in 2008, and that's kind of how I learned about the names of most of the songs that I know about nowadays, especially anything made by Yuzo Koshiro. Heck, I didn't even know that Launch Base Zone was called Elevator Music. Actually, it'd be quite surprising enough. I agree with John and his, I think he said it in the Sonic 3 commentary somewhere, that, it sounds like elevator music, but at least it's enjoyable. It's it's enjoyable to listen to. Any kind of elevator music is nice. I think Yuzo Koshiro took more of a, I don't know, kind of a hip-hop slash techno kind of approach to Streets of Rage slash Bare Knuckle. And for what it's worth, it works out well, but some things could have sounded better. I don't know, perhaps stage 5 could have had a little something extra. I remember Yuzo Koshiro had a like a Smash Hits album or something that has like extended versions of some of his Genesis songs. The Last Soul, which is stage 8, there's actually a part of the song you don't hear in the Genesis version, which is quite nice. If you have not heard that version yet, pick it up, please. Or at least find it somewhere on the interwebs. So just like most Brawler games, well actually Double Dragon didn't really grant you the ability to do this, so I'm kind of glad that Streets of Rage takes this approach much easier. Final Fight actually doesn't use this gimmick either. But yeah, the weapon system in this game is far better than any other Brawler game that I've known about, probably with the exclusion of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, since Scott Pilgrim vs. the World kind of uses a similar gameplay style. But one of the good things I like is that when you grab an enemy in this game, you will not drop your weapon. Streets of Rage 2 takes this out completely, even if you're playing Bare Knuckle 2's Europe and Japan versions. I don't know why, but it's there. Streets of Rage 3 had to fix that problem, but man did that make the game harder. In this you could drop your weapon 3 times. In later games you can only drop them twice, and then they're like gone for good. The only time I ever let that happen here is during the Mr. X battle, so there really isn't anything to worry about. You might wonder, what is that S symbol up in the top? Well, the S symbol is, and I would figure you would guess this, it's a screen nuke. It's basically your desperation attack. If you feel like you're being overwhelmed, you press whatever the special attack button, in my case C, if you're using default controls A. Yeah, you basically press that button, and then like what's his name from the police force will show up, and then pretty much either give a napalm fire attack, or he'll probably fire like this big Gatling gun if you're doing 2-player mode and you have player 2 fire the special hit. But yeah, I used to know the name of all of these bosses. I do not know for the life of me any of them anymore. The only one I remember off the top of my head is Big Ben from level 4, but that's about it. I'm drawing a blank. If you were to ask me who these other bosses were, I couldn't tell you. I am drawing a blank. Despite the difficulty that the onslaught of enemies might give you in the hardest difficulty, if you know the boss's AI, even on the hardest difficulty, they are quick and painless to deal with. Watch how I cheese my way out of fighting level 3 boss and Big Ben. That's quite the feat to watch. Like most games back in the early 90s, getting 50,000 points will give you a 1-up. So make sure you collect these money bags, and in stage 6, collect the piece of, what is it called? It's a thing of gold bricks. Oh yeah, I forgot sneezing powder exists in this game. Yeah, one of the things you might have noticed that I had tossed on to, I think its name is a signal. The guy with the yellow armor and the pink hair. Yeah, they're called signals according to Streets of Rage 2. There is a sneezing powder weapon that you could toss. It's a one-time use weapon, and you can also throw knives in this game, but sometimes they're used as regular weapons. Again, depends on the character. But yeah, sneezing powder will basically stun your enemy. And don't get me wrong, even though it's close range, you can actually get a good bunch of enemies in on it if you are in the vicinity correctly. Oh dang, so many Garcias. Oh yeah, this is actually the part of Streets of Rage where I actually could say that I kind of dislike the American translation for most of these enemies, because most of them are inaccurate. Again, Garcias in this game are known as Galcias in Streets of Rage 2, and I think that's unchanged in Bare Knuckle 3 Director's Cut and the Americanized version of Streets of Rage 3. Actually, don't play the American version of Streets of Rage 3 unless if you want to play it for experimental purposes, because it's basically just 4 kids ranting on the Streets of Rage series. Actually, how long has 4 Kids been around for? Like, I know at this point 4 Kids is dead. They've been dead since 2012. But like, do we know if they had anything to do with Streets of Rage 3? I decided to pose for that little poster there. Who the heck is in that poster anyway? What's that supposed to be a part of? I'm guessing that's supposed to be a reference to the Master System version of Double Dragon, because one of the first things you'll notice in the Master System version of Double Dragon, in the very first stage, there is a poster of Rick Astley that you could take a look at. No, he does not sing "Never Gonna Give You Up" if you hit the poster. I actually don't think you can hit the poster in that. But you know, it's quite nice to look at in his 8-bit glory. Then again, that's when the Master System still had a snitching audio chip. Sadly, we did not get that over here. Yeah, in my mind, I'm wondering, what the duck happened? Like, after Double Dragon Master System, the audio for games such as Phantasy Star, Sonic the Hedgehog, they just don't sound correct. They don't sound the same. I think one of the last games to do it, aside from Double Dragon Master System, was Alex Kidd in Miracle World, possibly? Couldn't tell you off the top of my head. Those jugglers. Not juggalos, jugglers. Even though they kind of have the juggalo hairstyle. Some will be juggling, the little fire sticks. Others will be juggling axes. Don't ask me why, it's just a game. It's just a video game. It's a video game! But yeah, the best way to attack them if you don't have a weapon, jump kick. I only recommend the jump kick because sometimes they'll start to throw their projectiles like right here, and you cannot block those by normal means. You have to jump kick. Oh, here's the ones that are juggling the axes. Sometimes they won't juggle anything at all. This applies to both Revision 0 and Revision 1. Some were just programmed, I guess, to not feature it, or probably a bug in the coding of the game doesn't allow you to see it. But, yeah. Oh, hi, Signal. Some of these characters actually do have some decent attacks. The Signals can slide. I don't think I ever show it off, but yeah. And here comes Wolverine. Yep. If you're playing 2-player mode, you actually have to fight 2 of these guys. I'm guessing it's supposed to add to the difficulty, quote unquote. But I don't really see the problem here. It's pathetic. It's pathetically easy to defeat Wolverine here. One thing I've noticed, and this is exclusive only to Streets of Rage 2, Streets of Rage 1, sorry. Do not do a jump kick against Wolverine here, or else he will do like a Matrix kind of move, where like you'll see a motion blur, and what will potentially happen is unavoidable damage. Ugh. And in the hardest difficulty, you probably might not want to get hit, because you can get killed in 2 hits from any boss here in the hardest mode. Oh man, I will not forget the day that I started playing hardest mode back in 05, and I lost my mind. But I regained it. I regained it after beating this game. Yep, that's right. This is my first time beating the hardest difficulty. This is going to be one heck of a show. But it won't really pick up until Stage 5, though. Stage 5 was where things really start getting insane, and I don't even want to start. I actually did have a wallpaper that I was supposed to use for this, but, I don't know. My printer and scanner's just not with me right now. I had to get a new one. That'll probably be coming after this marathon's over. So for now, just enjoy this little, wallpaper of Streets of Rage that I found. I'll credit whoever I pick up. In fact, I haven't even chosen what Streets of Rage wallpaper I want to use yet. So, I'll find one. I probably might take out one of the ones I found during my Streets of Rage 4 research. And, yeah, see you for part 2.